Doc, it's time to rock. Welcome to the channel, folks. Welcome to the 5150 show, Ranking the Tracks, our weekly flagship show on the channel. It's my pleasure. If you aren't already familiar with the co-hosts here, you should be. You should be. But in the middle of this Brady brunch kind of thing we got going today, we have the Rock Professor, who's got some interesting observations and a show and tell. Remember the show and tell thing, Brad, that we used to have at primary school? Remember that?
Show and tell. I used to love show and tell. I still do.
You still do it? Yeah.
Yeah. What will be done?
Yeah, show and tell. We've got Brad on a different location, folks. That
not just a background.
I'm holding you guys.
Yeah.
I'm holding you guys up. I'm holding you guys up.
Brad's got a green screen, folks, so that's a different background going on.
No.
But we're here on time because we want to make sure that the show ticks along, because there's a couple of things that some of the co-hosts have to do after the show. So one of the reasons why we are punctual. One of the things we didn't talk about while we were discussing what we were going to talk about today in the green room, but one thing we didn't talk about that we said we would always talk about is Caleb Rappaport's GoFundMe. So I've got that link up here, folks. If you're watching on replay, there it is there. Caleb's GoFundMe is 65 US. The goal, what's the goal? The goal is 75. But we want to make sure and help get it up to well past that. So Caleb, if you're watching, I understand, bro, you found some a new place. So
good.
We hope and pray, Caleb, that works out well for you.
Yeah.
I think that's all we need to say about Caleb, boys.
Yeah.
Is it?
All the best to you, Caleb, and your family, mate.
Yeah.
Sounds like through all the hardship you're going through, it's going to get a little bit better. Let's just say that, a little bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully, bit of a reprise from you. Yeah.
Good on you, bro. So I'll get rid of that. So Caleb, if you are watching, bro, we promised you that we would do a shout out to you for every show. So that's the least we can do. And I also want to remind you, folks, if you are watching on a replay, please subscribe to our channel. I was looking at some statistics today when I was at the beach, boys. I was at the beach today.
You were, yeah, beautiful. So beautiful. Raglan Beach. Very nice.
Yeah, I was at the beach. Thank you, guys. I was looking at some stats, and 75% of people who watch us are not subscribers to our channel. So please subscribe to our channel. We subscribe back to all subscribers. And while you're doing that, I ask you please to subscribe to Brad Cook Music on Instagram. And you'll find Brad's YouTube channel, The Rock Professor, Simon Williams 33. All those things are down there behind Brad or underneath Brad.
Yep.
Yes. ZD351 Music, our brother in arms, John, and also Zach Zedris, another brother of ours. If you can follow Zach. Zach's one is it's one of those private accounts, Brad. So if you don't get requested or accepted by Zach, send Brad a message. And he might message Zach for you.
He'll vouch for you. He'll write you. He'll write you what's it called?
I'll sign it off. I'll sign it off a good reference. Yeah.
Reference, as it says. Brad will send a reference in on your behalf.
Right, funny. Yeah, that's good. So. I think that's it. Now I'm going to hand it over to Brad, because Brad's got a shout out. Then we're going to hand it over to the Rock Professor. He's got a shout out, and he's got a show and tell.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the show and tell. But look, happy birthday to the mighty Mike Campbell, 75 today, 75 years of age, and still rocking like he was 35. So well done, Mike Campbell. We all wish you a very happy birthday. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're rocking.
Funny, isn't it?
You're rocking for 75.
You think,
yeah.
Although, the oldsters that we pass, like Jimmy Page and stuff, and and you think there are, 5 or 6 or 6 years difference between Page and Campbell. You think maybe when you're 20, that's quite a lot, but when you're 75 and 80, it feels like the same generation almost. It's funny, so you don't
almost. Yeah.
Think of them as being different generations, but 6 years, and that's kind of the same generation. Yeah.
Yes. I will take the opportunity, guys, to just say I've got a family member that's going through something at the moment medically. So yes, all the best to you, sir. You know who you are. We wish you all the prayers and healing energy that we can all give you through the internet. So yeah, much love. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Marvelous.
Over to you, Simon.
I've got a couple of things. First of all, this week we mourn the passing of Marianne Faithfull, of course, musician, actress, and probably most famous, although probably unfairly, for being Mick Jagger's girlfriend in the '60s and stuff. And but some nice messages from him and Keith Richards over the last couple of days. So yeah, a great person and made some great records. If you don't know Broken English and albums like that, and they're fantastic records and certainly stand up to anything. And so we mourn her passing. She's one of the icons of the '60s, I think, as well. So we mourn her passing. Yes. So shall I do show and tell?
I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
Do I do show and tell now, or is it?
No, do it now.
Well, do it now. Okay. As people may have seen, if you're friends with me on Facebook, I've got a new toy this week.
Yeah. Not bad.
My new, not bad.
Hey.
A lightweight 9.5 pounds, Brad. But look at that.
Mate, that's
flame, isn't it? On the old.
That's a beauty, mate. I love the flame on that. It's got a real slight angle backwards, which is really cool. And the color is delicious, mate. Beautiful. And the volume and tone controls. The old school top hat ones, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, with the little arrows to show you where you are and things. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Mate,
fantastic.
Congratulations, mate.
Thank you. As ever with me, there's a bit of a story. I hadn't it's got very nice red backdrop. But I wasn't looking for it. I haven't really been looking. It's kind of in the back of your mind. But as we all know, Les Pauls are quite expensive. And I was thinking, and then I was just disastrously browsing on Reverb, not very hard. Actually, no, I wasn't. I got an email saying, the Gibson garage are having a sale. They got some stuff on sale. So I just clicked on the email and went to Reverb. Morning, Hugh. And went off and found this Les Paul. It was only 1,600 quid. So your immediate reaction is like, what's the matter with it? And the answer is that there are some minor things. There are something so minor I can't see what they are, but there's supposed to be some lacquer cracking around the neck. Well, I'm blowed if I can see it.
Good.
So I can't see any of that. Yeah, well, yes, slightly. And it's the secret. Its secret is you won't be able to see this, but on the back of the, I don't know. Can you see on the back of the headstock? You see, it's got stamped. It's got stamped the word demo. So basically, it's a Gibson Garage demo guitar, and it's been stamped demo. Which doesn't matter to me, but and it's got there's some bit of tarnishing on the pickup covers as well, and the
good.
Yeah, so it looks a bit Murphy-aged. If I lie a lot, always Murphy-aged.
Yeah.
Hey, or you could just say you've played the hell out of it, Simon. That's all.
Yeah.
Played the hell of it. Yeah. Well,
actually,
he wants a pristine Les Paul.
Hey, Simon, that kind of gives it a bit of character because it's got the demo on it, all that sort of stuff. That might be worth a lot more money. You don't know.
It's not worth more money, but it it is worth 800 quid less than it would have been if it was new, kind of thing. And from my point of view, you go, you know what? I thought, well, that's a deal. I don't care about the demo thing because I'm not flogging. I'm not buying and selling them. It's not, that's not what I do. I'm just buying it because you're gonna
play it.
So the family were going, go on, Dad, do it. So I was like, all right then. So all right then. Well, if nobody's going to shout at me for buying, so I bought it. So yeah, and
well done.
It's great. It's really resonant. It's not too. As I say, it's £9.5. So it's not too heavy, but it's quite heavy. I've got a nice 3-inch strap for it just to to protect my drum. It all works fine, beautifully. It's and as we know, and it stays in tune. Brad, the old G string doesn't go out.
Doesn't slip.
All good.
The old G string doesn't slip up the arse.
No. stays in the nut slot.
Oi, let's keep it out of the gutter.
I haven't said that. But so as I say, it's got this, but it's you won't be able to hear this, but got tremendous resonance. I'm really impressed by it. It's like, really, really nice. I mean, it's always a bit of a lottery, isn't it? You go on to Reverb and and you buy something.
Hey, Simon.
But actually,
Simon, welcome to the club, mate.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like the lyrics of Hotel California. You can check it anytime you like, but you'll never leave.
You can never leave.
Once you got a Les Paul, you'll never leave.
That's right. Well, it's got the thing I like about it. I mean, it looks really nice. The top was really nice, and it's got 60s burst bucker pickups in it.
Yeah.
So, and it's got a 60s profile neck. So it has got the neck is slimmer, I think, than the 50s thing. But that's really nice. But the thing I like about it is that it's bright and punchy, even on the rhythm pickup. You know that, and the reason I never had a Les Paul in the I played some in the 90s. My bandmate Ian got one in the 90s, and I never liked that kind of very thick, muddy sound.
Yeah,
that never appealed to me at all. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know, they went through this period of having that kind of, and I never liked that.
Yeah, they did. They actually went through a period where a lot of their 90s Les Pauls were very muddy sounding. But I think they were trying to cash in on the grunge sort of sound a little bit more as well. But to be honest with you, if it's got a good punchy sort of mid-range thing or top endy, you've got yourself a good Les Paul. So that's good. Well done.
That's right. On the rhythm pickup, it's still pretty bright and punchy, and you go, that thing about, they talk about the 50, those 50, the classic 50, 58, 59, 61, as being like a telly on steroids. Well, that's what I think. This is very much in that vein. It is like a telly on steroids, more than it is that great thick muddy sound. So
let me tell you one thing, Simon. I really think the 60s neck is way underrated. It's such a beautiful neck to play. The 1960 reissue neck. It's that 60s profile is very very addictive. Once you play a 60s neck, it's hard to go to any other neck shape.
Yeah, and it's it's quite wide, but it's not so deep. And and I haven't got huge hands, so that was the other thing that attracted me. I thought, oh well, I know the 60s neck is a bit of a slimmer profile than the 50s one. So overall, as I say, it's got a bit of tarnishing on the pickup covers and the bridge, but I can't find anything else wrong with it. I mean, I got the photographs from the thing, the reverb and the blurb from the reverb. If you tell me there's some cracking around the lacquer around the neck, I'll believe you. I can't see it. Well, I'm old and blind, but so I'm really pleased with it. It's the guitar that I wanted it to be from Gibson, and not You know, as I say,
great,
that
mate.
bright, punchy
Congratulations.
sound that cuts through, and plenty of clout. And I said, I don't know if you saw it. My next door neighbour Laura next door saying, "Oh, is that the guitar I heard just now?"
Yeah.
Complaints from the neighbours.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Oh, well done, Simon. Well done.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Great. Sounds great through my PB as well. Sounds really good. You turn that up.
Yeah,
live
awesome.
And it's definitely.
Yeah, you got to
Look out,
have
neighbours.
You got to have a Strat and a Gibson, and you'll be fine. So I'm going to quickly show you guys because it's show and tell.
And I got Andrew, and I got a case as well, proper Gibson case. You know.
Oh, you'd expect to get
beautiful.
One. Yeah, got a case as well. Fantastic.
Yeah, you'd expect to get a case.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So, guys, if you don't already know, I'm a bit of a Kurt Cobain fan. So this is a Jag that I got upgraded. That pickup there, guys, is a Japanese Goto, mid 80s Brad Goto. It's the copy of a Super Distortion, pickup. So I got that put in there. And this pickup here is the Damasio 57. So, Simon, you know how you've just brought your Les Paul?
Yeah.
This guitar with humbuckers, guys, gives it that really growly sound, Brad, you know, that you would expect with humbuckers. You know, it just
beautiful.
Just chops into it. And I just got so we got those put in, and I got the rewiring done. I got this rhythm circuit here disconnected because no one uses it. It's just a bullshit. That's crap. And we just use these pickup selectors here. So there she is there.
Well
Kurt
done,
Cobain, brother.
Well done.
Kurt Cobain.
Well done, Andrew. Well done.
Thank you,
well
done.
Well done. I'm a bit jealous. I feel left out.
Well, we are a guitar show, guys, and we like to talk about gear. So we're going to crack on with the show. What do you reckon?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's hit it.
I think we should.
You want to do a shout out because we got our brother Hugh in here as well. So Simon, you want to do a quick shout out?
I will. Yes. So Hugh, welcome back. We're glad you're better, and I hope you're well. And we've got Ellen as well. So we're all sending love to you, Ellen, and hope everything's all right. And we've got a new guy I don't know called Jeffrey Boyle. Good morning, Jeffrey. Good to see you.
Jeffrey.
Nice of you to drop by. Hope you think it's fun. 54 Mac Dog, welcome back.
Good to see you, brother.
Fantastic too. I think that's everyone who's made a comment. So great, Hugh and Arvin as well. Arvin is as well. Nearly. How could I? Arvin, how you doing? Hope you're well.
Arvin, good to see you, brother. One quick thing while I remember, guys, before we kick off the show. So I'm going to go and see the Led Zeppelin film Saturday. Simon, you're booked to go this Wednesday, are you?
Yeah, Wednesday. I've got to go to Cardiff to go and see it. So I'm traveling to another country.
I'll be seeing it. I'll be seeing it this week, do or die. Somehow, some way, some shape or whatever. I'll be seeing it. Yeah.
Okay, so next Sunday we're going to be talking about the film, the three of us. Is that okay then?
That's fine. Perfect.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
What do you reckon? So you just have to hold your you just have to hold your rankings, bro, for the week after.
Yeah. No problem, mate. No problem, mate.
Fantastic. I'm glad because I can't wait to go and see it. So guys, the album that I've picked for us to talk about this week is a continuation. We ranked Cream's Live Volume 1, I think about a year ago or just over a year ago, Simon. So clearly and obviously Cream Volume 2 was always going to be on the cards, Brad. So this is the opportunity that I've decided to take it and going through a bit of a Jack Bruce phase at the moment.
Yes,
and
we've noticed that.
And it's because of that, bro, that I've picked this album especially. And when we talk about some of the tracks, obviously there'll be some highlights from me, in relation to what Bruce is doing, Jack Bruce is doing. So, I look forward to going through the ranking with you guys. So this album, there's nothing really special about this album, as far as, you know, angst between band members and relationships and problems with producers or record companies. It was it was released 2 years after, or 3 years after, Cream folded. So, you know, it was the record company taking advantage, and they're allowed to do that, of some of the songs that were recorded, obviously, when the band was together. Specifically at two venues, Winterland in San Francisco and Oakland Coliseum Arena in Oakland. And we've lost Brad, so we'll wait for him to come back on before we do the rankings. One of the great things about this album, Simon, from Eric Clapton's point of view, is that he was in his exile period when this album came out. So one of the great things that this album did is it certainly helped keep Eric Clapton specifically, but more obviously the other guys as well. But let's just focus on Clapton for a change. Considering he wasn't doing anything, it kept him in the public eye, and we have Brad back, so we got him. You there, bro?
Cool. Sorry, guys.
No problem. He didn't miss much. I just was saying that this album kept Clapton in the public eye because he was in his self-imposed exile. In his mansion. So there's no real backstory to this. It's probably, from my research and from my own opinion, and as I hand it over to you guys before we kick off the rankings, it's probably suffered a little bit behind, you know, Volume 1, but certainly Wheels of Fire and Goodbye Cream. They are going to always be, you know, the go-to albums as far as getting a good interpretation of what Cream were doing. But I'm going to defend this album because I've been listening to it a lot. And I think if you sideskip this album, Brad, if you do, you do at your own peril, because there are some gems, absolute gems on this track. And and I'm certainly glad, Simon, that the record company was smart enough to release it. So you know, for us to have, and like a lot of us, we hope that they find some other material. You know, who knows? Could happen.
Well, if they record it, then clearly they recorded, you know, at least two concerts in full. So surprised if they didn't record the other stuff around that time if they were playing. And so probably is stuff in the thing. Morning, John. ZD351.
Hey, John.
Back from his Hot Rod show.
Good to see our brother back. And one of the great things about the members of Cream, Jack Bruce spoke fondly about their live material, as did Ginger Baker, as did Eric Clapton. Jack Bruce in particular and Ginger Baker always referred people, if you wanted to know how good we were, you have all the live recordings of us. So go and listen. Don't listen to us talking about how good we were. Go and listen to it. So that will be our advice, obviously, to anybody that's interested in Cream. You know, don't listen to the three of us. Go and listen to the album.
I agree.
Simon, do you have anything to add? And I'm going to pass it over to Brad. Before we do that, I can't remember when the first time is that I heard this album. I must have been, you know, around the time I was listening to this rock and roll kind of stuff. So it must have been about 16 or 17 when I first heard it, and digested it bit by bit, certainly in my late 20s, guys. By my late 20s, I was, you know, with a few other guys listening to everything that Cream had by my late 20s. But I can say that this is on constant rotation along with everything else of Cream, Simon.
Yeah. Well, I can remember it coming out. I can remember distinctly the cover coming out and it being around, listening, hearing it then. I don't think I didn't have it then, but but certainly hearing it then, because it was kind of contemporary, I suppose, and in '72, that's when I started buying records. So certainly been part of me since then, really. So, but you're right. You're right. It's something of a sort of record company curio in some ways, isn't it? It's seemingly fairly arbitrary tracks from a couple of concerts and stuff. So I don't know how they chose them. I suspect they just chose them enough to fill up two sides and shove something out. But it's fine because you just take now you can take all those all that Cream live recording stuff and just kind of put it together, and it fits in, doesn't it, as another piece of the puzzle kind of thing. So yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
Brad, what about you?
Well, for me, I mean, this album, the only thing that it suffers with is the sound recording itself. I would love to hear them do what they did to, like, for example, Let It Be, the Get Back sessions where they individually AI'd it. And I know Peter Jackson has spoken about doing that to some early Beatles recordings. I would love to hear someone do that to some of these early Cream recordings. Not saying that I don't like it, but just to maybe isolate the instruments and the vocals a little bit better and really give them the breathing space that they deserve. But in saying that, not alter the sounds or anything like that, just really give a bit more clarity. But there's also a certain amount of charm in the way they're recorded because it's an era thing, and it gives it a lot of character. So I'm not saying I don't like the mixes and whatnot, but that's the only thing that I find that lacks when I'm listening to this is the overall mix. But there's some wonderful performing, and I've always thought Cream to me were more of a live band than a recorded band, if that makes sense. I love their live, their studio recordings are great, but I've always really enjoyed listening to Cream playing live. So for me, that's what I mean by Cream being a live band. I think they really shined on stage more so than on record because they opened up the songs. They gave them, a good run. There was a lot of improvising. It really showed them as a live band. It really, really showed how unique they were. The psychedelia sort of edge they had, they brought that to the forefront of rock music, in my opinion. They were like pioneers of it, really. And, Cream were so influential to so many acts around that time that came shortly after them, including like Jimi Hendrix Experience and whatnot. So this record in particular, though, it was a later find for me. I mean, I was more into Clapton, 24 Nights, went backwards into Cream. I knew of Cream. I'd heard Cream many times, but there comes a time when you're delving into an artist that you love and their back catalogue, and you start investigating. Oh, what's this one? I haven't heard this one before, and I have got this on CD somewhere in a box. And yeah, I fell in love with a few versions of the songs on here, which we'll go into when we get to the rankings. But yeah, Andrew, great choice, mate. I really I appreciated listening to this record this week because, to be honest with you, I haven't heard it for a long time, a few years at least.
No problem, bro. It's my mission for us on this channel to rank every Clapton and every Cream album. So
yeah,
and obviously every Led Zeppelin album. So, and we're not even halfway there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not with Clapton, we're not.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for that your interesting thoughts. We're going to jump in with the rankings soon. Crappy Luxury's here. He's played it a million times. We would expect him to. And I'll share with you guys on our messenger service a wonderful article on the birth of the Super Distortion pickup from the Damasio website, which I found really, really interesting. The depth, the research that the people have done, the photographs. It's just incredible how some of these companies, music companies, Brad and Simon, are taking their history and what they've done with some instruments and gear, and just providing everyone with a back catalogue of how it came about. It's just remarkable. I love it. Well done. Check the article out. Alan's here. Good to see you, Alan. Alan Garber.
Alan, how you doing? Good to see you.
G'day,
Up
Alan.
late over in Texas.
Up late.
Another Cream fan. So yeah. Good to see you guys. So as usual, we ask if you want to offer your rankings. If you're watching on replay, please offer us what you think of the album and or any tracks in particular. The first track, guys, is Deserted Cities of the Heart. Am I right there?
You are.
Yes. Yes.
I'm just reading my scribble. I'm blind, you see. I need some new glasses. So for students of Jack Bruce, myself included, this is just a wonderful example of how he implements Brad and Simon, his technique between the main chords of a song. It's one of the perfect examples of how a bass player does that. We talk about this sometimes when we're talking about bass players, the passing chords, the passing notes that they use when they're going from an A to a D or from a D to an E, Brad, you know, and Jack Bruce, the way that he does that is just fantastic on this track. One of the key things about this track too, obviously, is the fuzzy tone that Jack Bruce gets. So obviously he's playing his EB3, and we're going to be talking about that instrument a little bit more through his Marshall through the bass amps that they had. The Marshall, was it Super Bass that they had? Was it a Marshall Super Bass? Not the Super Lead, it was the Super Bass or something like that. I should remember, but I can't. Maybe someone in the chat can tell us exactly. But for me specifically, guys, I just want to talk about this track here. It's just a perfect example of what Jack Bruce was doing live. And I know that some people have criticized the bass tone on this album and what Cream were doing live. But what you have to remember, and Brad touched upon it a little bit, is this is what they were doing live. You know, they had to compete with each other because they were at tremendous volumes, weren't they, Simon? You know, you had Clapton playing through his stack, you know, and Jack Bruce's bass had to drive through, and having that fuzz, having that woolly bass tone was, you know, part of what he was doing as a bass player back then. So for me, it's a perfect example of what Jack Bruce was doing. I'm going to pass it on to the Rock Professor and then to Brad. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, and it's never a skip. Rock Professor.
Well, you are right. Marshall Super Bass amp. 100 watts.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly it. But, so your memory didn't fail, you see. You thought as fast. I think you're right, and we could talk about it. That it's surprising when you listen to this how distorted the bass is, and in a sense how distorted the bass has to be to fill up the space, isn't it? You only got 3 instruments, and that filling up the space and making it so that, you know, and following with the sort of overdriven guitar, you know, makes it a full sound. But if you had a very clean, it just wouldn't happen. I agree with you about. I mean, Jack Bruce is an amazing player. I think what I really liked about it, is that this song, when Eric is soloing, you know, firing off his fiery solo, which he does, that Jack Bruce is playing underneath that solo, but he's playing all his counterpoint stuff. He's playing counterpoint melody stuff, you know, going up when he's going down, and you know, following and you know, really paying attention to what Clapton's playing, and you know, following it, but doing that counterpoint, you know, I think is fantastic, you know, and you don't hear that very often. I don't think, not in that same way. You know, almost another lead instrument, but underneath, but playing a counterpoint. So it's fantastic. You know, really, really good and amazing. I mean, yeah, we could say it a lot. Ginger Baker's an amazing drummer, isn't he? You know, the complexity and the power that he puts into it is amazing. So it's a great opening track. It's got plenty of energy, plenty of fiery solo, as I said, from Eric, and that kind of infinite variety in the drum fills towards the end. There's that infinite creativity from Baker doing that, which is fantastic. So 10 out of 10 for me, and never a skip. Absolutely, yeah, great. Brad.
Well done. Well done, Simon. One of the things too that we should note about this song too, folks, is that it follows basically, Brad, the same structure of the studio version. One of the few live versions of a Cream song that does that, so it doesn't deviate too much from the live version, and it was an outtake from the Oakland Coliseum Arena gig, which was recorded on the 4th of October. So an outtake, whatever that means.
1968.
Yeah, 68.
Yeah. So thank you, Simon. Has to be a 10 out of 10. Brad.
Yeah. Well, for me, the Z Cities of the Heart. I'll put here. This live version's obviously got a little bit more rawness to it and aggressiveness to it than the recorded version. You hit the nail on the head with the arrangement there, Andrew. So I don't want to sort of double up on that. I think the song's intricate sort of rhythm changes are handled masterfully by Ginger Baker. Eric Clapton, his amp-driven lead tone, and it slices through the mix. It's phenomenal, and I love hearing Clapton play in Cream. His playing back here had so much fire and urgency. I really enjoy it, and I mean, everybody goes back to Eric Clapton's Cream days as his like days of really giving it, and I'm hearing little bits and pieces of shredding here as well. Like it's masterful blues playing, but he's opening up the doors for players that come after him to learn from. As we know, guys like Eddie Van Halen and stuff. You can hear when I'm listening to this stuff, I'm hearing where that influence has come from, and they've just taken it further. Jack Bruce, what can you say? His vocals are urgent, like his bass playing and the way he sings. I've always thought that's like a really, it's like Paul McCartney playing these lead lines on bass, and the way that you sing and play these pieces together, it's really, really difficult to do. And it's a standout the way that he does that. The interplay between the bass and the guitars, Simon, you brought this up, so I don't want to sort of go on about too much, but it's incredible the way that these guys play together, and to think it's a 3-piece band that sounds like this is incredible. The live setting gives it a bit more of that unpredictable sort of energy compared to the studio version, but there is a very close, a closeness to the arrangements. So, but all that being said, without repeating you guys too much, I've given it a 10 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Andrew.
Well done. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your rankings. And Hugh's given it a 10 out of 10. Crappy, a 10 out of 10. So thanks, guys. Mac Dog, a 10 out of 10. So, we're up there. We're all on par. The next track, guys, is, again, it's a track from the Oakland gig, and it's White Room. Now, if you're a Cream fan or a Clapton fan, you would have probably read over the years that this track's been often criticized by journalists as a weak version of this song. And I think that's due in part to the wah-wah solo, Brad and Simon, where the levels are inconsistent, and you can clearly, obviously, through your mind, appreciate the fact that the engineers are trying to get the levels right, and that's one of the things that I like especially about this recording, is that it's not polished. It's a live performance, so if you're back in the auditorium watching this in 1968, the fact that Clapton's wah-wah solo had levels going up and down wouldn't matter one shit. You were there, you were listening to it, Simon. You have been confronted by this wall of sound. And I think if we maintain that perspective when we listen to live albums, if you're listening for perfection, you're not going to get it on live albums.
Nope.
Certainly not from this era. Anyway, you know, it's going to be warts and all, and I like that. And this is one of those tracks. Again, we've mentioned Jack Bruce on the previous track, but jeepers, you know, that neck bass tone that he's got on this track is fantastic. And also those flourishes of notes that he provides on this track, you know, so it's almost like he's doing arpeggio chords, but instead of just using one finger, he's just flicking those strings, Brad, and you can hear it, you know, on certain parts of this. I think it's fantastic, especially at the 1 minute 30 mark. If you go and listen to this on Spotify at the 1:30 mark and go and listen to what Jack Bruce is doing with those bass strings, it's fantastic. And then you can understand why bass players that came after this album look back at this album as, you know, one of the technique albums that sort of propelled them to become bass players. And Brad, I have to mention those toms of Ginger, boy, you know, on this track, those tom-toms. He's the master of playing tom-toms. Please, if you are reading any articles where they ditch this track, don't read it. Don't consider what they're saying. Listen to it and appreciate it for everything that it is, the pure power that's Cream. It's 10 out of 10 for me, and it's never a skip. Rock Professor.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, well, I didn't. Yes, it didn't. The slight variations in the. Actually, I thought interestingly that actually the recording was really good. It's you know, so quite often we've done Humble Pie at the Fillmore, live at the Fillmore, which is very much kind of in the room, kind of, you know, that kind of in the room sound, and we've done some other things. Whereas this is a bit more hi-fi than that. I think there's a bit more you know, clarity and things. So I certainly didn't feel like, oh god, it's going up and down and, you know, stuff. It's I thought it was a pretty powerful version of the song. Actually, I think, you know, it's one of their classics, isn't it? You know, it's got a great melody, great, you know, and I think that's, you know, that's one of the important things is, you know, great song, great melody, great singing as well. And you know, Jack Bruce is a great singer. Let's not, you know, and I think, you know, I think the wah wah guitar gives it a bit of a, you know, in the chorus gives it, you know, is one of those subtle dynamic things. You know, you change the sound up a bit and things. And there's a 3-piece. You're looking for those things, aren't you? You're looking to do those things to keep it fresh. And so, you know, I think that it's a great solo as well, kind of fiery, melodic, bluesy solo from Eric. But, that's great, and I like the fact it speeds up considerably towards the end. none of your click track nonsense here. This is when I think, you know, I like that myself. I think, you know, that is part of the dynamic of a band playing. If you take it out by just, you know, playing to a, you know, in that one tempo thing, it's, you know, you're taking away a dynamic. You know, and, I think the speeding up bit is great. Yeah, well, I'm not blaming him. I think it's a good and useful dynamic technique in, you know, within a song. You know, speed up a bit at the end to with the thing. So 10 out of 10 for me. Never Escape, classic Cream stuff, and I didn't feel it was particularly weak, or I didn't feel as though the levels particularly annoying me in the wah wah thing. So I missed all of that. Brad.
Look, you guys have touched on a lot of my notes here, but you know, it's White River. It's one of Cream's most famous songs, really. I think this version has an intense feel, and it's looser than the recorded version, but that's how they played live. They had a tight but loose thing, like Led Zeppelin, you know, in my opinion, which is what made them so amazing to listen to as a live, you know, live act. I put here Clapton's lead work is very expressive. There's variations from the studio version, but the wah wah use, I mean, we love wah wah pedal on this channel, and it's one of our desert island pedals that we take. I think, you know, again, I touched on it at the start. I think this album could use a little bit of a polish up, but I wouldn't change any of the sounds at all. It's got great guitar tone. I love Clapton's guitar sound on this record, especially on this song. I put here the wah does add that very psychedelic edge. That's without a doubt. Jack Bruce's bass playing is up front. His voice is rawer on this, very bluesy quality, and the performance has that less polished feel, more emotionally charged. That's what I put. I think the song, and I did put it speeds up, which is what you said too. So I too, you know, I mean, it's a jam song. I always jam along to this, to whatever version I'm listening to on my guitar. You can't help it. And I've given it a 10 out of 10, guys. Never a skip. Andrew.
Awesome, bro. Appreciate that. And Crappy gives it 100 out of 10. So that's a Brad score. Hugh gives it a Brad score. Mac Dog, easy. Another 10. Easy peasy,
yeah.
Japanese. Easy.
Yeah.
Can't argue with you there, bro. The next track is Politician. And again, folks, like the previous track, if you've poured over guitar articles or music articles over the years, you would have read, you know, so-called experts disparaging this version of Politician, which again is from the Oakland session, and ask people to go and check out the version, the LA Forum version on Goodbye Cream, which is fantastic. You know, the Goodbye Cream version of the song is fantastic. But as I said in my intro, guys, I think if you discredit the songs on this album and go and look at these other albums as definitive versions of these songs, I think you're missing something. So one of the reasons why we love doing this show here on this channel is that we'd like to talk about each album in particular and point out the merits of this album. And this is one of those songs that I'd like for us to sort of say, well, look, this is a standalone version of a song too, Brad, you know, because the tapestry of the musicality between these three guys, Hugh mentioned it, you know, you get these three guys together, they're playing magic. And, you know, this is one of those tracks that certainly does it, especially that first solo, Simon. That first guitar solo on this, Eric Clapton does not make a mistake, Brad. He does not make there is no bum. There is it's perfect as a live solo to my ear. I you know, and he's on fire. You know, these guys are cranking, man. They're going for it. So, you know, the fact that that they don't make mistakes just again blows me away. Go and check this version out. It's a standalone version. Jack's bass, of course, and Ginger on this album backing up Clapton, you know, giving Clapton that ability to go forward and just soar. And how many times have we seen him talk about that over the years, Brad, where he was just, you know, given this wonderful opportunity to go and do stuff, you know, to jam Simon. You know, this is one of the things that Cream did, you know, that a lot of bands weren't doing. So I love that. I think it's fantastic. And even a fan, guys, if you listen to it on your headphones, even here towards the end there, a fan scream out, yeah! You know, so even in the crowd, they're going, you know, yeah! So you can hear that. They put that little yeah high up in the mix, so good on them for that. Brad score. Easily a Brad score for me. You know, just one of the great tracks ever. Rock Professor.
Yeah, it's we should say good morning to Anderson Figueiredo from Brazil, from Sao Paulo. So welcome, Anderson. That's a new name. Hope you enjoy the show. Fantastic. Thanks for dropping by. That's really cool.
Thanks, Anderson.
New person.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I mean, yeah, Cream in the vanguard of that improvisation thing is that, you know, and taking, as we've discussed a lot before, you know, this is the time in music where you've got extraordinary talents coming through, and that, you know, the planets have aligned like we've got now. and all those extraordinary musicians, and and they're taking the jazz bits and everything they've learned, and they're pushing it into new territories where people haven't been before. They haven't done this stuff before, And I think it's one of the things we have to remember is that looking back on it is different to being there at the time, and that improvisation thing that they were doing, and we're going to take it to new places. We're going to play the songs a long time, and we're going to take it to places that they haven't gone before. No, we're not keeping it tight. Which is a 5-minute song, things which is fantastic. And as you say, Andrew, it's got the interplay between Jack and Eric is great. The bass playing the riff with the guitar, great soulful singing as well, and that, as we said, that kind of driving bass, that the sound, the fill up the sound. I thought the guitar solo, actually, Eric just backs it off a tad, plays a bit more within himself and a bit more kind of melodic solo. He's great, just kind of holding it in, not letting fire with everything on every track. Useful again, kind of dynamics and things, and then there's a kind of nice guitar and voice kind of call and response thing with Jack and Eric playing it towards the end. So I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I think it's a great track, and and they have an energy and a sound to them that is so still to me really fresh and new. Fantastic, Brad.
Wow. Well, Politician I've got here. This is like it's got a great blues groove. This one in this live rendition. It's dark, a little bit darker. I like that. It's I don't know whether I'll put here. It feels a bit swampier than than other renditions, including the recorded one. Bruce's bass lines here are massive. Obviously locking in tight with Ginger Baker. He's got a really tight drumming on this. Clapton, I think he's choosing well-placed guitar licks, flashy runs, and a lot of space between his playing, which really emphasizes the really powerful licks he's playing, which I think that's what made Clapton so unique. He just had this ability to, or he still does, but especially in Cream, he just had this ability to do these mind-blowing flashy runs and give it space between the notes. That's a real unique thing to do, and not many players have got that ability to do that. I'll put here Jack Bruce's vocal delivery is very biting. He's got a fantastic voice, really. The live arrangement allows them to be a bit more jammy, particularly in the outro. Clapton stretches things out a little bit, bluesy vibes. He really opens up his playing a bit on this song, Andrew. You said it, he really gives it. He's opening up a lot in this track. And there's some great playing and jamming on this live version. I gave it a 10 out of 10 and never a skip. It was very close to be 100 out of 10, but I had to give it 10 out of 10, guys. Never a skip. Andrew.
No problem. We won't time you out for that. Guys, I'm just going to throw up some picks before we finish off the next couple of songs. I'd like to remind you guys that we have a merch store if you're interested. It's associated with the channel. We do get a little bit of money back onto the channel if you do decide to go and get something. So go and check that out. We invite you to. But here's some picks. We don't have a lot. There's a couple of picks there. It's a famous pick. Look at those Marshalls.
Wow.
Fantastic, yeah.
That's such a wonderful time in music, yeah.
Yeah. What Eric plays his SG. And I'll make the point like I always do with these things. Look how close they are together.
Yeah.
Actually, Rock Professor is playing his Firebird there.
Is that Firebird, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But interesting. While you look at these, I just looked up the set lists for Oakland and for Winterland. and stuff to see what the order of the songs was, you know. And they started with White Room, and then they did Politician, and then Crossroad Blues, Sunshine of Your Love, Spoonful. So in effect, they didn't. Deserted Cities of the Heart is the sixth song they did in it, not the first. But you see, White Room and Politician they've left together on this record. This kind of, you know. But it's quite interesting that they took it as an opener for this, but Cream didn't do it as an opener. Tracks, as I say.
So go and buy your velvet trousers, guys, if you want to be in the groove.
Hey,
if you want to be in the cool
velvet,
band.
come on.
Yeah, bring it on. Love
it. So that's them behind the scenes, obviously getting ready. Another great live shot there of Clapton with his Marshalls and his Firebird. So this is from '68 as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not much in between. No. I mean that's one of the points, isn't it? There's a bit of wah-wah, but there's not much else in between the guitar and the amp. Just the way it's all set up to
I particularly love this era of Cream during their 2.5 years together, or 2 years together. Clapton looks pretty cool. He's got rid of that perm. Jack Bruce has got his hair a little bit longer. They're looking pretty cool.
Yeah, they actually look more like a band at this point in their career together, don't they? They look like
a famous cover of Volume 1. But no, you're right. Yeah.
They look more like a band at this point in their career than three individuals. They look like they're actually, morphing into each other a little bit, which is what happens, you know. Yeah.
That's the cover of Volume 1, which we've already ranked. That we'll link a show card for you to go and check out. There's Simon. There they are, tight together again.
Yeah.
Yep.
What a fan I am of the. Well, but I do think it's really interesting, that this sort of music and this kind of improvisation and it relies on people being close together so you can watch what the other person is doing, and follow it. And Led Zeppelin exactly the same. The three musicians, huddled. John Paul Jones and Jimmy Page always huddled round John Bonham. And the same with Cream, and not over the other side of the stage, kind of miles away.
So I'm just going to say, do you reckon George Harrison copped a lot of his later year look from Eric Clapton?
Yeah, I think so.
Similar fashion styles, aren't they? Paisley and
similar fashion, similar hairstyle, similar, facial hair things when they grew them. It was like,
Yeah, in the early 70s, there George was sporting a mustache too. Yeah, good point.
Like that. Yeah, that's what I mean. They obviously, what do they call themselves? Husband-in-laws.
That's it.
Nice.
And that's the album cover.
Yeah. I reckon the album cover looks cool, but they should have done the album cover just a live photo with, Cream with the title, and it would have looked even better. Yeah, very cool.
Digital Guitars is in the chat. Digital Guitars is in the chat, bro.
Oh, okay. G'day, mate.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Andy.
Morning, Andrew. How you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
He's getting his band together, and he's been playing out regularly.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, guys. So crack on.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are we up to now? Track 4.
Tales of Brave Ulysses.
Yes.
Which is one of the masterpieces of Disraeli Gears. If you're not familiar with the making of Disraeli Gears, the video, they talk at length about how the song came about. So we invite you to go and check that out. But one of the anthems of the psychedelic era, not only from fans, but it influenced, Brad, you were talking about it, musicians at that time. It was it had a huge influence on George Harrison.
Yeah.
You know, so
100%.
yeah. So go and check it out. So again, you know, I'm a Jack Bruce disciple, but that A-B bass and Eric's wah solo, Brad and Simon on this is just a fantastic track. I think this is Jack Bruce's best vocals on this compilation, in my opinion. I think his vocals on this are just amazing. Please go and check it out. I'm going to pass it over to you guys because I've said a lot. I'll be keen to hear what you guys have to say, but probably up until about this time last evening, Brad, it was my favorite track on the album. So I'm going to give this a huge score.
Huge score. Ooh, tremendous.
Yeah. Mainly Simon. You know, look, I think it's a great song live. It's just fantastic. But I just every time I hear this song, I just can't get rid of what this song meant for a generation of people and how important it was, and you know the lyrics. You know how the lyrics came about, and maybe you guys might want to talk about that. You know, and the guy who wrote the lyrics did this cover. It's just it's magic. It's magic. Simon.
Awesome.
Well, a lot of music around that time was magic, wasn't it? It's you know, it's a magical quality. You know, we think for sure. I do for sure. You know, and never bettered, and certainly never equaled. Some would say, but I think that's you're right. The first thing you have to say is that whatever else, it's a great song, isn't it? You know that take a great song and you've got the basis to make something great out of it. You know, it is a great song. It's a great song in the recorded version, in the studio version. You know, as a single, as a hit. You know, all of those things you've got to remember. You know, and then you can stretch it out. Although they don't stretch it out a huge amount, do they? Stretch it out a bit, but not a huge amount. But I think that's really the important bit. Is you know if you've got a great song, you can do great things with it. You know, a mediocre song, you can crash about with it all you want, but it's not going to work in the same way. So the first thing I say is it's a great song. Tells you one of the classics, absolutely one of their classics. Again, again that bass playing with the counter melody to the guitar and stuff, and playing just things that weave in and out with the guitar that I think is fantastic. And Jack Bruce in the vanguard of doing that stuff. Back in '68 was we're just getting into jam land in '68. Not many bands were doing it then, so they're clearly wanted to take it there. As you said, the wah wah guitar is great, gives it that slightly different dynamic feel when he's playing, and Eric's back to his fiery, fast-fingered bluesy solo, and which is fantastic. It's as I said, they don't stretch it out too far. I think that they have a pop sensibility that is intact in all of these things. That they understand about good melody is a good melody, a good song, great song is a great song, and that's really important. I gave it a Brad. I only gave it a Brad score. I think that I'm being rather churlish, so I give it a Brad score. But I was being rather bold, but clearly not. I had great playing from Ginger Baker. So.
Yeah,
Brad, over to you. What say you?
Look, track 4, Tales. It's a showcase of Eric Clapton's wah wah mastery. I've put here.
Yeah.
This live version has, a bit of a more dynamic and improvisational feel. The rhythm section drives this song, with the intensity of it, and while Clapton, his guitar fills the spaces. There's a lot of fluidy, sort of bluesy runs going on. Jack Bruce's vocals are, amazing. They're commanding. The overall performance leans heavily into the song's psychedelic aspects. I've put here. The solo section extends beyond the studio version, obviously, and Clapton's playing is incredible on this song. It's one of the album's highlights in my opinion, and it's a definite 100 out of 10. Never a skip. Andrew.
Well done, bro. Well done, Simon. And guys, Hugh's given it an infinite score. So
which
fantastic.
Is cheating. That's just cheating, Hugh. You can't start. That's infinite.
and Crappy Luxury has taken it beyond
infinity.
Yeah.
To infinity and beyond.
Yeah. Buzz Lightyear score.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's a Brad scores 100 out of 1. A Hughes score is 1 million.
Hughes, no.
8 million.
8,000 or something out. 8,000 million out of 10.
8 million.
No, it wasn't. It was 8,000 out of 10.
No, it's 8 million. It was 8 million out of 1.
Anyway, 8 something.
I'm sure it was. Hugh, correct one of us, please.
8 million. No, Hugh says it's 8 million, and as it's his score, he should know. And now we've got a Buzz Lightyear score, which is to infinity and beyond.
Yeah. We always have a bit of fun with the rankings, guys. We are rewriting. I hope you guys know, and that includes you folks in the chat as well. We are rewriting scoring of rock and roll classic albums. Okay, so we are at the cutting edge together as a collective. Remember that.
We've been refining the maths models, and this is what we've come up with.
Alan gives it 120 trillion. Oh my gosh!
Good
on you, Al.
You realise, Alan, that's now your score. That is now 120 trillion is an Alan Garver score. That's what it is.
Well done.
What a scale.
Yeah.
Sunshine of Your Love, guys, is the next track that we're going to talk about. This is from the Winterland gigs, guys. So just keep that in mind. For if that matters, if that means anything. Let's be clear from my perspective. There are no bad versions of Sunshine of Your Love. There are none. Each version of this song has its own unique aspect, and clearly Brad and Simon, being Clapton fans, it's certainly a song that Eric took right through his whole solo career, up until I'd say he still plays it today.
He alternates it in his set list all the time.
Yep.
Like it's in there on one gig. Every tour it gets definitely played. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. So, definitely an important song for Eric Clapton. And, one of the great things that I like about this song, especially when Cream are playing it, I love the fact that Clapton and Jack Bruce are sharing the vocals. I think that has to be the appeal for me, that they are sharing the vocals. And it was a treat to hear it on Disraeli Gears. And obviously, the way that Clapton took his part of this song with the vocals, he talks about this song being important for him as a vocalist, Brad, giving him the confidence to go and develop as a guitarist, as a singer as well. So, this song's important because he was playing this just about every night, when he was with Cream, sometimes a couple of times a night. But I think that's one of the great things that I love about this. That guitar solo, though, on this track is fantastic. It's magic, isn't it? I never get sick of it. I never get sick of listening to this song. It's, one of my desert island songs. The power and the skill and the poetry that these guys have when they're together, and it's displayed, and it's all in its majesty, in my opinion, on this track. I think it's fantastic. I'm giving this a Brad score. I love all versions of Sunshine of Your Love. Rock Professor.
Yes, again, I mean, it's quite interesting that this version from the Winterland, they opened the Winterland with it, so straight in that and I think that it's one of the things they didn't play it to track 4 on the Oakland gig, but again, it's the first thing is it's a great song, isn't it? It's got a classic riff, absolute classic riff. Everybody recognizes it. It's kind of transcends its genre. Anything, as you say, he still plays it absolutely regularly now because it's one of the rock classics of any era, really. And it's they do. Did Clapton and Bruce sing alternatively on it, or did they alternate on the vocals? It sounded like that to me. I'm entirely certain. Huddled over a hot pair of headphones or something. Going, that is the two of them singing, isn't it? They alternate things, which I think is really cool. I think that the harmony they sing in the chorus as well, the 2-part harmony they sing is fantastic, and they do that in various places on this. I haven't mentioned it before, but there's some really good 2-part harmony singing that I really like. I think there's a great long improvised section over the verse chorus structure, which Eric, and you've got that fuzzy bass, but the fuzzy bass, Jack Bruce is changing the riff constantly. He's not just playing the riff all the way through this. He's adding bits, changing the riff, going up and down, which is, keeps it interesting, keeps it great driving drums as well. Again, we talk about Ginger Baker's mastery of the toms, and that is one of his signature things. And I don't know if you noticed at the end. Did you notice at the end when they're playing? Eric starts playing Jumping Jack Flash, the descending riff in Jumping Jack Flash, doesn't he? At the end of it, it's like, wait a minute, I recognise that, which is lovely. That kind of completely unaccounted for, referencing Jumping. I thought that was really cool as well. I give it a 10 out of 10, of course, and never a skip. It's a great version of it, and they have that. Again, the faster tempo, speeding up towards the end. Never a bad thing. Brad.
Sunshine of Your Love. I think this version is an absolute powerhouse of a version. Slightly heavier, obviously, than the studio cut. Has the riff is hypnotic. I've always said that it's got a bit of a hypnotic feel to the riff. It sucks you in. Clapton's solo extended, he incorporates blues, there's some jazzy blues runs in there as well, but my most immediate sort of thing that hit me was there's a lot of shred like phrasing in here. If you want to talk about guitar players shredding, you can't dismiss Eric Clapton's influence on people that are shredders, because it's in this song. If you listen to a lot of his playing, in his bluesy way, he's shredding in this song. Bruce's bass line is obviously aggressive. Ginger Baker's drumming, he adds a little extra swing and complexity into this song. He's definitely given everything he's got into it. Touching what you said, Simon, about the two vocalists, I love the duet style vocal, how they sing a verse each or whatever, and then together. I really dig that. And I think that's one of the charm of this song is the vocals, is how they did share the vocals on the recording and live. The extended outro, it's fun, it's fantastic. The entire vibe of this song is electric. I have to say, this song always encompasses everything that is psychedelia for me. And the crowd response is obviously, every time Eric or Cream would start this song, everybody knows that riff immediately. It's this version of it, 100 out of 10, never a skip, guys. Andrew.
Yeah, I agree with you, bro, and I think there's an important point that guy David Fick makes in that classic albums review that we mentioned earlier. that we often get people to go back to and check out because it's just a fantastic documentary. But he points out, you got to remember that Sunshine of Your Love was being played on the radio between Diana Ross and I forget the other song, you know, so and yeah, and it just blew people away, you know. It just, yeah, you're right, Brad. It just grabbed hold of you know, young folks and certainly, you know, a lot of record executives and record making people and band managers, because it influenced the direction of where a lot of guitar players and musicians were going. So yeah, thank you for that, guys. We've got Tony, our good friend from the UK, in the chat. Good to see you, Tony.
Tony. Good to see you, Tony. And we've got Blue Fen as well. It's a new name I don't recognise. So good morning and welcome, Blue Fen. And a great comment you made about Eric's storytelling dynamics in his solo.
Yeah, Blue Fen's been here before.
Has he?
Good morning.
Yeah. I just forget. Apologies.
But yeah, good to see you, Bluefin. But yeah, good to see you too, Tony. And we know that Tony, especially, is a Clapton nut as well. So yeah, thank you. So we're up to the last track, guys. On this great album. So you guys might remember at the beginning of the show, I said to you that I listened to this, you know, when I was a young guy, and heavily influenced by other people around me as far as Clapton and Cream goes. So I'll be honest, I was listening to a lot of other songs on this recording, and I skipped this Brad and Simon for a long, long time, this track, because I wasn't familiar with it. You know, it wasn't something that we were talking about. Brad, it wasn't until my 20s where I was actively engaging in this song, and certainly since 2010 when I rediscovered this music. And I said to you guys many times on the show, I was going to dedicate the rest of my life to studying this music. So 2010, I've been listening to this track many times, Simon, many times. And I just think that if you do skip this track, you do so at your own peril because you're missing something. This track is just fantastic, and I'm glad that they've put this track as the last track on this compilation, because there's just something going on between Eric Clapton and his guitar on this track, Brad and Simon. You know, we're guitar players, but what Clapton's doing on this guitar solo, the double stops, his vibrato, Brad, the arpeggio chords that Clapton plays, everything, the shredding that you're talking about, Brad, everything that Clapton was doing as a guitar player, for me, to my mind, is on this guitar solo. I just think it's incredible, and every time I hear it, Brad and Simon, I apologize to myself for sort of not listening to it for 20 years. You know, but I urge people to go and check this track out. It's one of, and I think it gets buried, and I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to say, and our friends in the chat. I'd be interested to hear what Tony, what Hugh, and what Crappy Luxury, and anyone else in the chat in particular has to say about this. But I think it sometimes gets lost as an example of what Clapton was doing in particular, not sidestepping Jack Bruce or Ginger Baker, Simon, you know, but certainly a track, you know, that these guys have been playing for a long time. Early on, when they first formed Cream, they were playing this song because they had hardly any songs when they had their set list, you know, so this was one song that they knew, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Bruce was playing with it back when he was in the Blues Breakers, you know, probably was. So, you know, the guys knew it, but I'm going to pass it on to the Rock Professor. Just an incredible solo by Clapton. Wow. No wonder. No. Oh, I made this note coming back from the beach, and I want to throw it out to you guys. You know, you mentioned Eddie Van Halen, Brad, and we've got Alan Garber in the chat. So you
Alan
can kind of,
yeah.
you can kind of understand why Eddie Van Halen didn't listen to Derek and the Dominoes after listening to this album or this track in particular. It was a different Eric, obviously, with Derek and the Dominoes, and we love that album. It's a masterpiece beyond compare. But you can understand why some guys say that Clapton's best work was with Cream. I don't buy 100%. Into that, but I can understand why they would say that. I can understand.
Yeah.
Simon. Brad, what are we going to say?
No, I was going to say, look, I agree with you, Andrew. Can understand it 100%. I don't buy into it. I still think Clapton developed, as did Eddie, through their career into what they wanted to achieve at that particular point in their careers. So but I still think this is Clapton really stretching himself as a guitar player and really pushing the limits of what could be done on guitar, at that particular time. You look at other guitarists that were around at that particular time, and Clapton was definitely one of the most exciting and most influential guitar players at that present point in time. But I don't want to say too much more on my notes at this point. Simon.
I've got to rank it before I hand it over. I give it a huge score.
Yeah,
huge score.
And you know how I said that Tales of Brave Ulysses was my favorite track on the album?
Yep.
That's my favorite track on the album, but this is my favorite track on the album too.
Perfect.
Favorite track on the album too. Okay.
Yes. Well, there's only 6 tracks on the album, Andrew, so you pretty much picked half of them.
A third of them, yes. A third of them.
2/3. You've picked a third of the album. This is your favorite track. Anyway, sorry.
And there was me thinking that you could only have one favorite. Oh, how stupid am I? Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, yes. I mean, this track is clearly it's a showcase for Eric. It's an instrumental showcase for Eric to stretch out and show us what he can do, and he can do a lot. It starts off with that classic, that classic riff you've heard him play 100 times before. You're taking that was it the SG into the Marshall? I mean, is it an SG or the Firebird? Anyway, Gibson humbuckers. It's into that Marshall, just gives it that sound, and great bass and great drums to back it up. They do little stop sections, a little way in, and then you've got Eric just getting into the full improvisation mode, and he uses great phrasing. And there's a couple of 2 or 3 times when he drops down, they drop it down using dynamics, to highlight that, which I think is fantastic. I think the drums get really intricate underneath the guitar, and basically, lest we forget, there's a bit of bass at the beginning, but there's a great section from about 3 minutes 57. There's no bass. There's no bass for the rest of the song, which is it's just Ginger and Eric just playing together without any bass at all, which is why I mean it's really stand back and let Eric do his stuff as a thing. It's amazing the way that he builds, and building on what Bluefen said, that the way he can build a solo, keep it going, drop it down, take it back up again. Great sense of dynamics and things, and that kind of build up at the end with this kind of slightly more chordal soloing towards the end. That gives it a big end. I mean, I agree with Andrew. It's 100 out of 10. It's an amazing track and shows Eric off, at his blistering bluesy, dynamic best. Brad.
Yeah. Well, I haven't really got much more to say other than it's a really high energy version of this song. I really enjoyed it. Obviously, it's a bit of a it's a little bit more, I guess, frantic and a little bit more improvised than, say, the John Mayall Blues Breakers when he was with them. He mixes his signature blues phrasing and psychedelic blues inspired runs. I mean, you've got everything here. You've got his double stops, you've got bends, you've got vibratos, everything that Clapton. It's a textbook of Clapton. This song, the way he plays. Bruce and Baker, they provide a relentless rhythm section here. I especially love around the 4-minute mark, though, where they break down and Clapton is playing on his own, and then the dynamics it builds around what Clapton's playing. And I reckon that's probably a little bit of the chemistry of the band, sort of shining there, because they knew Clapton. They probably had that rehearsed. Well, we're going to stop here and then we're going to pick it back up where we think Clapton's ready to start building it dynamically. And I'll be surprised if they played this the same way twice, because I think the chemistry of these three musicians is undeniable, and it's really evident in this this version of this song. But it's Clapton that shines on this song. Obviously a favorite of Clapton. He loved this song, and they really push each other. Cream, they put the three instruments are really pushing each other: the bass, the drums, the guitar. At times it's like a little bit of a battle. They're pushing each other, and Clapton will do something and Jack Bruce will be like, no, and he'll do something, and then Ginger Baker's like, shut up, you lot, and plays his thing and really pushes them. It's like they're beating each other up while they're doing it. It was great. That's my only way to describe it. It was like disorganized chaos, but it's organized at the same time. I love Andrew. I'm very much like you with this. I never gave this the time of day, really, when I was really discovering this album and Cream at the time. I was like, oh yeah, instrumental from John Mayall. Like, I never really listened to this version too much. Through the years, obviously, I haven't listened to this record for a couple of years at least, but I just put albums on from start to finish, and I would always be surprised to go on, why isn't this version of this so familiar to me? I don't remember this. Oh, and then today when I was listening to it again, because I've listened to it all week, I was like very familiar with it by this point. I'm like, this is such a cool version of this song, but it really showcases Clapton, and I'm glad that I'm reconnected with this. And thank you, Andrew, for picking this record, because it's actually given me the opportunity to reconnect with this song. So I've given this 100 out of 10 and never a skip, but it's purely because of the chemistry of the band, and it really gives Clapton the legs to stretch it out and show what he was about at this point in his career.
100%. Well done, guys. It's a 10 out of 10 album. It's a masterpiece. It's certainly an example of what this great band was doing. The live recordings definitely need to be going and listened to. If you're a Clapton nut, if you're a Jack Bruce nut, and Ginger Baker himself, talks about it as being one of the greatest things that he ever did as a musician, Simon. So. And he was a little bit, what's the word? He was a little bit, he said no one was as good as us, and we were it,
Well done.
And good on him for that. So thank you guys, for allowing me, because I am, a Clapton, like a lot of us here, we are Clapton and Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker fans. So going through a bit of a Jack Bruce buzz at the moment. But next week we're going to be, folks, we're going to be wearing our Led Zeppelin T-shirts next Sunday. We're going to be getting together, and we like to do this every now and again. We did it a few times on the channel. We were just going to get together and talk about something as opposed to ranking something. So we're going to get together and we're going to talk about becoming Led Zeppelin. Brad and Simon, we've been talking about this. It's from the band. It's from the band, so it's an official publication, official release.
Yeah.
Yeah, been
Can't
doing
wait.
some really cool clips, haven't there? There's been a couple of really cool clips of some things. Yeah,
it looks really good, and it's long overdue. Long overdue. Can't wait.
I can't wait either. I've just been negotiating the Bob Spitz biography over the last couple of days, guys, and I have to tell you that biography is fantastic. The amount of research that guy has done. You know, these guys were born into the blues. You know, we have to remember that. If there's one thing that you have to remember about Jimmy Page in particular, let's talk about Page.
Yeah.
You know, he knew the blues. These guys, Beck, Clapton, Keith Richards, Mick Jagger. They were mingling together when they were basically nobodies, and they saved the blues, Brad.
Well, the whole British explosion. The British Electric Blues. It was, I mean, Clapton, Beck, and Page were, the three British explosion guys at that particular point in the, that late 60s, early 70s thing. It was all about them, really.
Yeah. Hugh, there's a film called Becoming Led Zeppelin. It has its official release, I think, in a couple of days' time. So it's been released here in New Zealand, Australia, and UK at the same time. So this week, we're going to go and watch it. So, Hugh, if you're out and about, grab some tickets and go and watch it, bro.
Yeah.
It might be on an IMAX theatre, Hugh. I'm having to go to Cardiff to go and watch it because Bristol doesn't have. Well, it does have one, but they're not showing it here. But,
I'm grateful that it's getting showed at a regular cinema here in Australia as well as IMAX. But I'm grateful that it's being played at a local cinema close by for me. So I'm gonna.
Me too.
Want to get my hands on some tickets next week, and I might even take my son along as well to watch it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're looking forward to it. So, yeah. I can't. Yeah, just can't wait. Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Yep. Jimmy Page.
Well, it'll be our first official Zosso show for the year.
Yeah. So and I will have my my Led Zeppelin t-shirt that you gave me for Christmas. I'll be wearing that. I'll be showcasing that, bro. Thank you.
Me too.
There you go. Well, I might put mine on too. So, and at the end of the show, we'll all show a Les Paul with that t-shirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. That'll be the screenshot. Well done. Well done.
All right, guys. Excellent.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So we're at the 1 hour 30 mark. We know that, Brad, you have to shoot off and do something. I'm going to ask the Rock Professor if he wants to do a shout out because we had some great comments.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Yep.
Fantastic. So with Hugh Caldwell, great to see you back, and glad you're fit and well, and hopefully back to playing, which is brilliant.
Yep.
Bluefen, good to see you again. Thank you very much. Tony, of course. Tony Bones dropping by. We've got Anderson Figueiredo from Brazil. Fantastic. Thank you for dropping in comments, Anderson. Brilliant. I hope you enjoyed the show. 54 Mac Dog. We've got Crappy Luxury. Stepping out into galactic epic. Brilliant comment. Ellen, of course, Ellen, we hope everything goes well and you're good. So,
thank you, Alan.
Thoughts with you. Arvin, of course. Thanks, Arvin, for dropping by. Staying up late. Alan Garber as well. Lots of cool comments from Alan. Thanks, Alan. Good to see you as well. Obviously up late in Texas. Digital Guitars UK. Andy, good to see you as well. Brilliant. Thanks for dropping by. Who else do we have? You Digital Guitars, yes. Anderson. Crappy.
Cheers, Mac Dog.
John ZD351. I know you're in there somewhere. Good to see you as well. Jeffrey Boyle as well. Thank you, Jeffrey, for dropping by. I hope that's everybody. I think I got everybody. So thanks all for dropping by, and thanks everyone for given us 22 thumbs ups, which is more than the 13 people who are currently watching. So that's fantastic. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you, everyone. And please, if you haven't done it already, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.
Good point. Take care, everyone.
See you guys.
See you next week.
Bye.